There's a brand new crypto data company that has just received some massive funding from Microsoft, as well as a host of other well-known VCs. It was mainly led by Microsoft's M12, which is their venture capitalist arm of their company, and they raised $20 million just recently. And this is significant, especially because this is coming at the time of a bear market. In this video, I'm going to reveal to you what this company is, why it could be groundbreaking for the entire crypto space, and a couple things to keep your eyes on. So the company I'm talking about is called Space and Time, and they are a Web3 native decentralized data warehouse, and they're the very first of its kind. And don't worry if that sounds a little bit confusing to you. I'm going to go through and I'm going to break this down into as simple terms as possible. But I think it is important because this is a bear market and we're seeing this company raise $20 million from Microsoft, also from Avalanche, from Polygon, and from a bunch of other massive Web3 funding companies. So this is significant, and I couldn't help but notice it as I was looking through some of the major crypto news websites the other day. I mean, it was pretty much everywhere, this massive news that just broke. So I decided to do some research into what actually is this Space and Time platform, and is it significant, and is it worth something that we should keep an eye on? Now, with that being said, Space and Time doesn't currently have a crypto token or anything like that, but I still think it's important for us to cover this because I think that this could be absolutely massive. So if we just take a look at who Space and Time is actually backed by, Microsoft's venture fund, Chainlink, Samsung Next, Polygon, Avalanche, a lot of these really massive companies. So I think it's significant that we're taking a look at this at least. Now, as far as their team and who's actually making this happen, right? One is the guy named Nate Holiday, who's the CEO, who also worked head of operations for a $2 billion company where he was managing over 6,000 employees, which is pretty impressive, as well as this guy, Scott Dykstra, who is the co-founder and he's the CTO that also has experience with managing massive teams, creating beautiful UX and UI experiences for a company called Teradata, which he was kind of the head of product, it sounds like, at Teradata. You can also see that they're being advised by one of the co-founders of Chainlink, also the head of brand at YouTube, also the senior vice president of Ticketmaster, which I think is important to note. So what's really going on here? So like I mentioned, Microsoft's M12, or their venture capitalist arm, basically invested $20 million, which came 2 months after their initial seed raise, which basically they had raised 2 months prior about $10 million. And not only this, but Space and Time is also partnering with Microsoft Azure to provide an on-ramp access, manage and perform analytics on blockchain data. So this is going to allow a lot of the business world to use Microsoft Azure and use Space and Time to be able to start reading and writing and analyzing data that happens on the blockchain. So with that being said, what essentially this project is it's a decentralized data warehouse, and the platform aims to combine on-chain and off-chain data into a single trustless environment that will enable companies to do enterprise scale analytics and make really fast transactions. And essentially they're trying to make it easy for enterprises and Web3 businesses to interact, right? So right now we basically have Web 2 and we have Web 3, and essentially Space and Time is going to allow these two to do is allow them to interact with each other really simply. Also, one of the things that I thought was interesting about Space and Time is that they have a patent pending proprietary technology that's called proof of SQL. As you know, we have different consensus mechanisms. We have proof of work, proof of stake, but this is a totally brand new patent pending technology called proof of SQL, which basically SQL is it's a programming language that's really popular when dealing with data. And essentially what it's going to do is enable businesses to run SQL queries on the blockchain data while also providing proof of query and the fact that the data hasn't been tampered with. So what this all means, this mumbo jumbo essentially is that the proof of SQL is going to make sure that the data isn't tampered with at all, because currently right now, most of the data processes in a centralized warehouse instead of a decentralized warehouse where the data can actually be tampered with these centralized parties. So the beauty of this is that proof of SQL can turn any centralized database, which there's tons and tons and tons, obviously, in the real big business world. It can turn these centralized databases into trustless databases. Now, Space and Time is really focusing in on is Web3 gaming and different DeFi protocols, and it's already set to be working with EVM chains like Polygon, Avalanche, and Ethereum. And one of the main use cases for Space and Time is for decentralized applications, or any dApps, will be able to bring transactions and analytics data into a single warehouse. So blockchain gaming, for example, which is obviously been huge just in the past 2 years as it's kind of came to the public, often faces challenges where they have a database that tracks online transactions, but they also have a separate database for game events. And so the big problem that they're going to be able to solve is basically bring these two together as close as possible and find out which in-game events actually lead to in-game transactions, which is a huge problem that they're going to be able to solve for different Web3 gaming companies. So this is their enterprise level vision, but basically they're saying that business today still runs on SQL. And so they're going to be bringing business tools to enterprise solutions, as well as giving them the ability to interact with the blockchain. Okay, so again, combining this big business Web 2 world with Web 3 world and allowing them to interact and see analytics that are actually happening on the blockchain. Ultimately, their vision is to see a world where if you're using Microsoft database services, which a lot of the biggest companies in the world do, then to be able to create this bridge, which will allow them to easily interact with blockchain data. The founder, Nate Holiday, also went on to say that most of this $20 million that they've just raised will be used for engineering and customer adoption. And I really like this because this is a legit project that is in a bear market that's really trying to build something that is significant. They have phenomenal backers and partnerships that they're working with. And also the guys that are leading the charge have an excellent track record. So I saw this stuff all happening. I saw all these news articles pumping out everywhere. And I decided that maybe this is worth making a video about to help kind of dumb this down or explain it to people, because I think this is something that we'll start to hear more and more about as the years of crypto continue on. Hey, if this video is helpful, please like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications. And feel free to check out some of the other helpful videos on our channel.